Good morning and welcome. I'm so happy that you could join us on this beautiful Sunday morning. We are broadcasting live from our sanctuary here. My name is Reverend Alice Reed, and you have joined us at the Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Cruz. We are this close to having folks in the sanctuary, so stay tuned because that announcement will be coming very soon. We have a great morning for you today, and I want to start with a lovely opening video. It's a little snippet of John Lewis as a young activist talking about getting the vote out. And then there's a beautiful chant that was written by Elizabeth Melvin and Leah, and it's called Make Good Trouble.
In the state of Alabama, during the early 60s and the mid-60s, there were several 100,000 of black people of voting age, but very few were registered to vote. As a matter of fact, in the heart of the Black Belt, in Selma, a small town in Alabama, that had only about 2.1% of the black people of voting age registered in 1965. Today in Selma, more than 70% of the blacks of voting age are registered to vote, and 5 members of a 10-member city council happen to be black. In Greene County, Alabama, during the early 60s, very few blacks were registered, but today that county is controlled by black. The highest elected official of the county is a young man, Thomas Gilmore, who is the sheriff.
Stand up and make good trouble. Speak up and make good trouble. Get up and make good trouble. Rise up and make good trouble. Stand up and make good trouble. Speak up and make good trouble. Get up and make good trouble. Rise up and make good trouble. Stand up and make good trouble. Speak up and make good trouble. Get up and make good trouble. Rise up and make good trouble. Never be afraid to make some noise. Make some noise. Never be afraid to make some noise. Make some noise.
This is the struggle of a lifetime.
Make some noise.
Makes good trouble. This is the struggle of a lifetime. Make good trouble. This is the struggle of a lifetime. And make good trouble. This is the struggle of a lifetime. And make good trouble.
So you tell us to wait. You tell us to be patient. We cannot wait. We cannot be patient. We want our freedom and we want it now.
Thank you, Leah and Elizabeth, for that wonderful chant and that remembrance of John Lewis. It's a wonderful segue, if you will, as we all mourn the loss of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. What better guidance than guidance from John Lewis to make good trouble, to listen to our hearts, and to follow those hearts so that we can make good trouble and make the world a better place that works for everyone. We have a wonderful centering statement that I want to share with you. I want to let you know that if you don't know already, we're part of a global movement called Centers for Spiritual Living, and we share a vision, mission, and purpose with the Centers for Spiritual Living, but we have our own centering statement. So let's say that together now, shall we? We are a spiritually progressive community that transforms lives and the world through a philosophy of possibility thinking and responding to life with love. Let's do that one more time. We are a spiritually progressive community that transforms lives and the world through a philosophy of possibility thinking and responding to life with love. So we do have a wonderful lineup for you this morning. Sky Leona, our practitioner extraordinaire, will share a beautiful quote from Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Then she'll do our invocation. We'll have our sing-along song, our monthly song, Let Love Lead, with Leah. That'll be after the invocation. And then, for the first time ever on this platform, we will have the Reverend Elisha Cristopher, who will be delivering our words of wisdom today. So stay tuned. We have a lot of wonderful things in store.
Yet, what greater defeat could we suffer than to come to resemble the forces we oppose in their disrespect for humanity and human dignity? By Ruth Bader Ginsburg, 2016. So now if you'll join me, I'd like us all to rest in this very moment without anything from our pasts, without any worry or concern about our future, but just right now. And if you want to join me, you may close your eyes and take a few deep breaths with me. And so today, I choose to take on the mantle of loving kindness. I choose to allow that creative force in this universe to guide me in wisdom. I choose to be a beacon. And I'm knowing that each one of us has that capability. And I'm calling on you now. We are a beacon for wellness. We're a beacon for ease and peace. We surround ourselves in every moment with the beginning thought that all is well. As a loving kindness representative, I see my family and wish them well. As a representative of loving kindness, I see my community and hold them in my heart. As a loving kindness representative, a beacon, I see this planet, our beloved home, with loving kindness. And I wish that level of wellness and ease to descend in everyone's lives and in all life everywhere. I am grateful, for these words are already in action through each of us, as us, and because of us. We are blessed. So it is. Thank you for joining me.
Love, would you guide my feet? Love, will you light my path? Love, lead the way. Love, will you fill my needs? Love, will you do the math? Love, lead the way. everything feels broken, and I'm holding fear at bay. Love, lead the way. Lead the way. Lead the way. And I will walk with trust today. And all I do, and all I say, I will follow. Love, lead the way. Love, lead the way. Love, lead the way.
Good morning. It's good to be here. Let's begin together as we always would do when I'm here by taking a few breaths together. So if you will, wherever you are, exhale first and take a deep breath in. And let go. And take another deep breath in. And let go. One more deep breath together in. And letting go. And so my topic today is have faith in what? This is our exploration, this is our conversation today. So good morning again. I want to say that this idea of faith is really something I think that we need to explore, especially in the face of the world and the circumstances that we are seeing unfolding in front of us everywhere. We speak so easily in Science of Mind of this idea that we believe that God is all there is, that there's a power for good in the universe that's greater than we are, that evolution and expansion are the nature of the universe, that forward movement is the sort of the outcome of all things. And yet, we look at the world in front of us, we look at circumstances, each one of us, even here in our own city, there's been fires, there's fires rushing up and down the west coast, there's floods in the south, on the east coast, we're in the middle of a pandemic, there's sort of national upheaval happening on multiple levels, and yet we can say that we have faith that, all is moving towards the good. Well, that can be a little bit difficult. Looking at the state of circumstances versus the state of our belief, I think often for myself, and I know for many of us, can bring into question what is it that we truly have faith in. I know for myself, as I've been moving through the last number of months, this deep contemplation of what do I truly place my faith in? What do I truly exercise based on my belief? Where am I truly putting my attention? And Science of Mind philosophy tells us that faith has no opposite, that even fear is an expression of faith. That when we have a fear about something, when we're afraid of something, when we look at negative conditions and we believe that those things are true, we're placing faith in the negative outcome. We're placing faith in the circumstances. We're placing our faith in what we're seeing. And yet we have a belief that says whatever we put our faith in, whatever we put our attention onto, whatever we exercise the power of our minds into, will be created and manifest and sort of brought forth in front of us. And so the question I really want to explore today is, where are we placing our faith? What are we having faith in? So have faith, but in what? In our exploration of our global themes through Centers for Spiritual Living, our spiritual leader, Reverend Edward Vilhune, sent out a video with this wonderful story. And he says, there's a group of people standing in front of a vast canyon, and there's a tightrope with a tightrope walker who's ready to go across the abyss, if you will. And he looks to the audience and he says, here I go, and he walks out across that tightrope and walks back and says, how many of you believe that I can walk across that rope? And they all go, we do, we do. So then he grabs a wheelbarrow, and he takes the wheelbarrow, and he walks across the tightrope, and then walks back, and says, how many of you believe that I can push a wheelbarrow across this tightrope? And everyone says, we do, I've seen it. So then he asks his assistant to get into the wheelbarrow, and he pushes his assistant out onto the tightrope and back, and looks at the crowd and says, who would like to go next? And nobody raised their hand. That every single person in that audience believed that the tightrope walker could make it across and back, walking with the wheelbarrow, with someone in the wheelbarrow. And yet not a single person in the crowd was willing to place faith in that belief to get into the wheelbarrow. Right? And this is the difference. Abraham Hicks says that a belief is a thought that you keep thinking. So we in Science of Mind say whenever you place your attention on something, whenever you think about something, when you do your affirmations, your spiritual mind treatments, and your meditations, you can take a thought and you can sink it deep into your brain to become a belief. And we often form our beliefs based on the results, based on what we see, the cause-effect nature of the universe. I prayed for this thing and then it happened. I have a belief that there's a response happening here. But do we have the kind of belief to get in the metaphorical wheelbarrow and go out on the tightrope? Do we have a belief that actually is so deeply interwoven into the fabric of our existence that it's not just a belief, that it's something that we have deep faith in, something that we are willing to risk in a sense, risk our life for what we believe, or what we truly believe in, for what we are fully willing to throw ourselves all the way in and say, yes, this is what I place my faith in. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King said that faith is taking a step on the first step onto a staircase that you can't see. I think of faith as that moment in Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom where he's going to cross the abyss, and he knows that if he just places his foot there, even though it doesn't look like it, there's something that's going to meet his foot. And that we have to take that full step. You know, in the Tarot, there is the card of the fool, which is the one who's just walking off the cliff joyously. And in that is such a foolish faith, in a sense, that is beyond belief, that almost looks supernatural, that almost looks out of the ordinary, that almost looks a little bit extra, because it's beyond the level of belief. And we can let what we see in the world be what we believe. Or we can place our faith, our action, our thought, our participation in something greater. And I really believe that Science of Mind tells us that faith is not about making miraculous things happen, but that faith is about being in alignment with the nature of the universe. That faith is about moving with the flow, about knowing that there is a flow, about recognizing that there is something greater unfolding everything. Many of you know that I have spent the last couple years working with my beloved Paula as her caregiver, which has been my full-time job for the last number of years. And Paula passed away relatively suddenly a few weeks ago. And in the weeks before she passed, and she was not looking like she was going to go. It came on very quickly. And about 3 weeks before this all happened, we were having a conversation, and she looked at me and she said, you know, when I'm long gone, I'm going to throw down my walker and my wheelchair, and I'm going to run. And I saw this look in her eyes of like she knew that as soon as she threw off this body, that there was an experience of freedom on the other side. And I said, where are you going to run to, Paula? And she said, well, down the golden streets of heaven, of course. And then in the next couple weeks, she had an accident. She went into the hospital, and then 10 days later, she was gone. And I don't just believe. I have deep faith in knowing that even though she shed her body, that Paula is not gone. I feel her everywhere. I hear her responses coming out of my mouth. I hear her voice around me. I see her in the flowers and in the sunshine. It's so incredible to have been with someone so intimately for the last couple years, and then to have seen her see this thing coming, and to see that she knew that something was about to happen and that she was about to leap out of this condition of her body that had been imprisoning her for so long. And she knew that there was this experience of freedom, and if I could, there's no way I can truly explain the look in her eye when she was speaking about what was going to happen when she passed. And I got in that moment that I was seeing absolute faith. There was not a question of what was going to happen when she shed her body. And now that she has moved through that experience, there's not a question in my mind that she's not still existing, that she's not still unfolding, because there was something so potent in that moment for me that even though my brain and the experience that I saw was someone that I love leaving this planet, there was such a deeper knowing in me that Paula just got in the wheelbarrow, that she just went out into a whole new experience beyond anything that I can imagine. And I know that something miraculous took place around her transition. And I share that just because for me, it was a moment recently where I was able to see the difference between belief and faith. In the difference between the people in the crowd who said, yes, I believe you can walk across the tightrope, and then the one who may or may not have been willing to actually get in. That there is something greater than we are, something beyond us, something greater than all the conditions that we see, that is actually living and breathing and moving in all things. And I recognize that we see so much condition unfolding around us that can prove to us many of the beliefs that the world is trying to throw at us right now. And we live in a world of sort of distorted truths and many different beliefs and so much coming at us from every direction, that what are we really putting our faith in? Are we putting more faith in the conditions of racial separation, of political division, of COVID, of all of the things that are happening around us? Or are we placing our faith in an idea that evolution is greater than any human action, in a belief that the universe is always unfolding towards the good? Are we actually choosing and acting and being from our belief in what we see or our faith in what we know? And oftentimes those things can contradict each other. I think that part of being a metaphysician, part of practicing science of mind, is being willing to embrace those contradictions. When we experience a breakdown of our own health, when we experience a breakdown of the world around us, to still claim that there's an innate perfection, that there's an innate forward movement, that there's an innate expansion that is always happening. And when I truly ask myself, what is it that I believe deeply so much that I actually have faith in? As I look out recently, I realize that I do believe powerfully that there is something in the nature of nature, in the nature of the world, in our human beingness, that is so much greater than we can comprehend. I've been saying recently that I've been finding myself in awe of the beautiful chaos that is life right now. That we in Science of Mind have been claiming for over a decade this idea that we believe in a world, the emergence of a world that works for everyone, that we are holding a vision of a world that works for all. And I realized recently that the only way to get to that vision is to believe and is to have so much faith in that idea that when we see what seems to be breakdown in front of us, perhaps it's actually all that no longer serves beginning to fall away, all that needs to be rearranged and explored so that we can actually build a world that works. I've been in awe of the beautiful chaos that has been unfolding around us right now. And I even look at my own life where all of us have been in this great sort of global sweep of COVID. And then that sort of spiral of chaos has moved into our nation, in our politics, and in so much of the discord and the eruption that's happening. And then the fires have swept the West Coast, and it came to our town. And then someone I love recently passed away. All at the same time as I've been moving towards finishing my ministerial degree and stepping through the portal of change and moving into a new life for myself. And as odd as it might sound, the thing that I have more faith in than anything is the nature of change and the fact that the universe is responding to me. And that I have chosen a new life for myself, a new world for myself. And as I've been going through my own personal transition, the entire world has been rearranging itself around me. And really that's happening for each and every one of us. That we are all being called to move into a new experience of life, to choose new ways of being, to really look at how we experience our spirituality, how we interact with each other, how we hold the planet, what we truly believe will make the changes. Do we have faith that our votes count? Do we have faith that marching matters? Do we have faith that where we put our dollars actually makes a difference? And if we do have faith in these things, then we can start realizing that there are ways that we can actually participate in the change. There are ways that we can participate in the good trouble that we heard in our song earlier. That we have to be willing to start to take steps into the unseen and into the mystery and start making choices based not on what we see and believe, but on what we truly have faith in. And our choices, our actions, our words, our responses, all of these things are going to reflect back to us what we truly have faith in. And if we turn on the news, or we look at the world, or we see circumstances unfolding around us, and we allow those things to permeate us and become the truth, well, then we've seen where we've placed our belief. But if we allow those things to come into our minds and then evoke the question, how is this God? How is this the forward movement of the universe? How is this calling for a greater expansion for all of humanity, for all of life? Our faith is what's going to inform our responses. Our faith is going to inform our actions, our reactions, our choices. Our faith is the thing that is actually speaking through us, choosing through us, and seeing through us in every moment. And the sort of prescribed talk title from the CSL themes for today was something like, do you have faith or are you had by faith? And I thought, we're living in a world where many people have been had by their faith. That what we put our faith in is causing much of the distortion and the delusion, that we are choosing to believe in false truths. We're choosing to act upon ideas that may or may not be true. And that many of us are placing our faith in sources that are not the true source. And that leads to more distortion, more confusion. And our role, our job as people who claim to be conscious, choosing individuals, is to really start to examine first and foremost ourselves. And using the world, using everything around us as a mirror. Because one of the things that I truly have faith in is that the universe is always giving us back to us. That what we are seeing in the world is an absolute perfect reflection of what's going on in our collective subconscious and unconscious. And that it is all perfect in a sense, in that it is simply reflecting ourselves back to ourselves. And I know that to be true more than I know anything. that the world is a mirror, but none of us exists in a vacuum. And so the mirror is of our collective. And so what we are seeing is then does require our individual participation to begin to examine what's being reflected, so that we can begin to examine then what we are out picturing, so that what is happening in this reciprocal reflecting back and forth of us and the universe can start to change. But we first have to have enough faith in the knowing that the universe is responsive, that the universe is reactive, that the universe is reflective, and that as we engage from that place, if the universe is our tightrope walker, each one of us has to be willing to get in the wheelbarrow and step out into the unknown, because we all have to begin to engage in new thoughts, in new ways of thinking, in new ways of being, in new ways of sifting through information in order to get to the truth. And so I really want to just put this question into mind this week of, do we have faith? And if so, in what? Because what we put our faith in is what is going to call our attention, it's what's going to call our energy, it's what's going to ask for our participation, and it's that which is going to start to see and speak and hear through us. And so we must begin to cultivate spiritual practice, spiritual community. Find a prayer partner, be in a class, be engaged in our services in some way. As we open up the sanctuary to allow you to come back in, come back in. As we have events on the property, come be in community. Call someone, talk to someone. Engage in the process of sifting through what we see that is so believable, so that we can together get down to what we truly have faith in, so we can move forward from that place. And so really this week, just be in the contemplation of what it is that you, that I, that we collectively and individually have faith in, and where we're placing that faith. Are we expressing our faith truly as faith, or are we expressing it as fear? Are we expressing it as confusion? Are we expressing it as anger? How is our faith expressing? And that faith will point us to what we believe in. And what we believe in will point us to what we've been thinking about. And what we're thinking about will point us to what we need to work on, so that we can start to change what we're thinking to ingrain a new belief that is strong enough for us to say and believe and act and move as if we truly have faith. And I've heard Reverend Alice say that science of mind is a philosophy of faith that can, as I believe Reverend Alice has said before, heal the sick and raise the dead. That Jesus said that faith can move mountains. But we have to have faith that is so unmovable that it goes beyond circumstance, that it goes beyond condition. And so with that, let us remind ourselves what we truly have faith in by taking a deep breath, letting go. And I claim, know, and declare right here and right now that I have absolute faith that there is one being, one life, one love, one energy that is existing, unfolding in all things. That this one life is seamlessly interwoven into every interaction, every experience, into all circumstances. That God and only God is the nature of all things. That the universe is alive, and that livingness is unfolding in everyone. That which we recognize as life, as consciousness, is breathing each and every one of us. That it is the spirit of life that beats our hearts, that sees through our eyes, that hears through our ears, that speaks with our mouths. That each one of us is the spirit of the living God. Each one of us is the universe. Each one of us is life itself manifest in human form. That each one of us is a place where the universe, where the quantum nature of reality is choosing. And it is responding to our deepest belief, to our most ingrained thoughts. That indeed it is our faith that is demonstrating around us in every moment. And so that which we have faith in reflects back to us, manifests, proves itself, and is always doing so. And so let us just be together in the celebration and in the joy and in the gratitude, and recognizing that the universe is responsive, that we believe that there is a power for good in the universe that is greater than we are, that is greater than we are, that no amount of human choosing can actually be greater than the nature of the universe itself. And I believe that the nature of the universe is to evolve, is to expand, is to move towards the good, is to move towards higher complexity, towards greater order. And I believe, and I know, and I have faith deeply that the nature of the universe is always unfolding, is always proving itself, and everything that any one of us is doing is reflecting that. But thank God that we have the power and the opportunity to choose into it, to lean into it, to participate in its unfoldment. And so let us have faith and know deeper than any other knowing that there is indeed a power for good in this universe that is greater than we are, and it is ever and always expressing through each one of us individually and through all of us collectively one thing happening: God and only God. And it is to that idea that I surrender and that I live and move and have my being in deepest faith, in gratitude. And it is in that that I simply say, and so it is. Thank you, friends.
Hello to you, Santa Cruz. This is the first song that my spirit, my muse, sent to me as a response for a crying out of the fear of COVID and the changes that it was bringing. This is the first response that my inner being sent to remind me where it really is at. Keep your heart wide open, though the waves want to push you around. You've got to keep your heart wide open until your faith brings you back to solid ground. I'm gonna keep your heart. I'm gonna keep wide open. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. Although the waves want to push you around. Although the waves want to push me around. I'm gonna keep your heart. I'm gonna keep wide open. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open until my faith brings me back until my faith brings me back to solid ground. Keep your heart open. Keep your heart wide open. Keep your heart 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 wide open. I'm gonna keep your heart open. Keep till my faith brings you back. Keep brings me back. Keep till my faith brings me back to solid ground. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. Though they try to push me around, I'm gonna keep my heart wide open until my faith brings me back. I know my faith will bring me back to solid ground.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Leah. I'm going to keep my heart wide open. What a wonderful morning we've had. We've had some really beautiful wisdom from the Reverend Elisha Cristopher. Yay! And then the wonderful music and inspiration of Leah. We're so grateful for you as an addition to our community. And we have an affirmation that I would like to share with you. So let's read this together, shall we? I surrender into the grace of the One, knowing I am divinely guided in all I do. If you found this broadcast helpful, I hope that you'll share it with friends. I know that you've been sharing your financial good with us, and we really appreciate it. And so you can see on the screen there are a number of ways you can continue to do that. You can donate through text to give, through our Givelify app, through our website, or through the mail. We so appreciate your support as we continue to support you during this highly unusual time in our evolution as a community. I want to thank our team today. We have you might have heard some people in the background as we've been celebrating Reverend Elijah. We have a little skeleton tech team here, and so I want to thank each and every one of them. We've worked really hard to bring you this broadcast, so thank you, team. I want to thank Sky Leona for the beautiful prayer work that she does every Sunday. And I want to thank the Reverend Elijah for his wisdom today. Yay, Reverend Elijah. I want to thank Leah as well. So we have a couple of announcements to share with you. You may have heard about this last week or seen it on our e-news or seen it on our website. We've got lots of information for you this morning, so let's get at it. Vote Your Values, a 1-hour workshop that we're going to do October 3rd and October 7th. Just like our philosophy, it is not our job to tell you what to think, but it is our job to help you use your marvelous mind to decide what you want to think. And your vote is the same way. So we want to help you to get in touch with your values so that you can vote those values on November 3rd. So join us. We'll do a wonderful workshop on looking at our shared values as a movement, identifying your personal values, and then we'll talk about some pragmatic steps about how you can get to the polls and make sure you vote on November 3rd. We have another wonderful opportunity coming up. It's called The Power of 8 a.m. It's an opportunity, Elijah talked about looking for those ways to connect, to stay grounded and centered while we move through what seems like some pretty rough seas out in the world and in our country. And so this Power of 8 a.m. practice will be a Zoom call that you can come to. You do not have to be on camera. If 8 a.m. is a little too early for you, show up in your jammies and your hair and your proverbial curlers and keep your camera off. We'll have a little inspiration. We'll then do a centering practice, and then we'll set an intention individually for our day. Shouldn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes. It's a great way to start your day. We'll do it for 40 days before the election on Monday through Friday. On the weekend, you'll be on your own, but Monday through Friday, you can join us for the Power of 8 a.m. We are also going to be using our Thursday at 1 o'clock time to come together as a community. If you are in leadership, if you've been in leadership, if you're interested in getting more involved, join us at 1 o'clock on Thursdays. We talk about reinventing community. It's our time to take that next giant step to what we want to be as a community in this new reality that we are living in, each individually and collectively. So join us. We'll collaborate, we'll connect, and we'll build community together. I also want to let you know, you can't tell from the broadcast, but I am standing in a building that has no roof. Our roof was removed yesterday, and yay! And we are putting on the shingles next week. We have this brief moment in time to really honor all that we're releasing because we are truly open at the top right now. And so if you're home and you have something that you're ready to let go of, I invite you to energetically say out loud what you're ready to release. Give it some thought and think about it. And if you have time and you want to come to the center, at noon we're going to do a brief ritual about letting go and making room for the new. That'll be in the sanctuary at noon today. I'm sorry, in the garden at noon today. Meanwhile, there's still time to buy a shingle. So use any of those ways, the text, the app, the website, the mail. If you want to buy a shingle, there's still time to buy one and support this amazing, once in a 25-year opportunity to put a new roof on our building. and join us as we create a new shelter for ourselves. It's really quite amazing opportunity and so fortuitous right now. So I hope you'll join us for that. After the talk at 11:30, if you're going to stay at home, you can join me on Zoom and we'll connect. We'll share ideas. We'll be able to see each other on the computer screen on our regular Zoom number 831-000-1818. That starts at 11:30, and today it'll end at 5 minutes to 12 because we're doing our little ritual at noon. Well, I think that's it for today. I'm really grateful that you were able to join us. We are continuing to do our Project to Connect. That's the only other thing we haven't talked about yet. That happens at 1 o'clock Monday through Saturday, and Kaylee Dugan is the facilitator of that. That's an opportunity to connect and get support. On Thursday, we'll be reinventing community on that same number, and then the power of 8 a.m. every morning until the election, an opportunity for you to have some mindful reflection before the election. Thanks for joining us today. I'm really glad that you were here with us. I know that you're going to have a powerful week as you continue to stay with us and connect with us as we move through these trying times. There is definitely a powerful thing happening in the world today, and together we can weather it. And not only that, together we can thrive. So have a great week, and we'll see you. If I don't see you sooner, I'll see you right here at 10:30 on YouTube and Facebook. Have a great day.
Love is but a song we sing, and fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring and make the angels